Hello, how are you? Another day, another show. Uh, but today's show, I'm going to speak about something very specific and something uh, very important, simply because it's a subject that I am quite familiar with. So it's going to be a slightly different kind of a show. You know, in the world that we come from, which is advertising and marketing, which is where I come from, we are from a very young age trained to talk in public spaces, to make presentations, client conversations, client negotiations, pitches. That's quite part of our DNA. So, from a very very young age, we are trained. We are trained to a level you can't even imagine. Uh, Now, why are we trained? Because at the core of what we do is we sell an idea. Uh, Therefore, to sell an idea, there is a process. There is a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. Ideas are not sold very easily because ideas are abstract. They are not real. They are not like selling a bike. There are some You sell an idea with the assumption that the recipient of the idea is also as bright as you are. So there's lots of rigor. We go through a process. We know who the audience is. When I say audience, I'm not talking of the consumer. I'm talking of the clients in the room. Who are they? What is their background? What is their qualification? Uh, what kind of ideas are they open to? What kind of ideas they like buying into? Especially if you're presenting radical ideas like what an idea surgery or Jagore for Tata Tea, or these are very very, or we help you buy for Chroma. These are very very radical first time in the industry kind of ideas. So for us to know who we are presenting to, it becomes very very important. When I started in the industry, which is many moons ago, uh, the process of putting together a presentation was very very rigorous, because the tools that we had to present were quite different in those days. We used to have acetate sheets. They were transparent sheets which were put on a projector and present. So as bachas in the industry, or flunkies as we were called then, we were asked to be ready uh, at about 7:30 in the night for a presentation next day, because it took our bosses 8-10 days to get the presentation together, write, rewrite, because on an acetate sheet, once you photocopy it, you can't make changes. And yeah, acetates were the tool. So they are a big box kind of projector. We had to go to a photocopying machine at night. They were A4 sheets, which with a big point size of 24 and 26, and there were points on that, which was our presentation. And the beauty of acetate sheet was that you could choose, because it was in your control. You could choose what not to show. I still remember, 2006 or 7. We had gone to New York. IPG, the Interpublic Group, used to have, or I think it still has, I don't know what the deal is. But in those days, they used to have a workshop in New York where the top 10, 15 people of the company, young people, emerging leaders, they called for a 3 days workshop, and it was a beautiful workshop. We had some fabulous speakers. You had speakers from the Senate. You had all kinds of people who come there for 3 days. You had ballet dancers. It was really, really beautiful. In the middle of all that, we had a guy from the Army, the Marines, US Marines, who made a presentation on how communication can be messed up by the lack of correct information. And the whole case study was on how a friendly fighter kills a friendly helicopter in a no war zone. It was, I think, for about 4 hours. He had about 400 acetate sheets. I don't think anyone moved from their chair. It was so mesmerizing. So you could make the best presentation in the world with any tool you have. It's not necessary. I mean, he had acetate sheets. Acetates got over, and then we had those carousels, the little slides. Again, 2 days before the presentation, our bosses gave us those slides, and we had to go and get them into the studio and make slides. There were little jackets which we had to put on a carousel sheet. And I think the guy who invented the carousel must be the world's most sadistic guy, because if you didn't number those slides and they fell from the carousel, let me tell you, putting them back was the world's biggest torture, because you had to read those slides on a light box and put them back in order. It was horrible. And if you had a boss who was sadistic, then he would tell you one day before the presentation, the previous night, that I want those slides to be colored. So you get these watercolors, you sit in your office with a bunch of bachas, and color them. He'll say, I want red headline and yellow body copy. And you do that. It was fun. The hard work, terrible amount of hard work, terrible amount of effort, and you learned like hell. You learned like hell because everything was so rigorous and labor driven. They were nothing easy. And then I think in the late 90s, early 2000 came the PPT. Microsoft got this famous PowerPoint, the tool. I think PowerPoint is a horrible tool. It has made everyone lazy. It's the rigor is gone. But some people just get it right. They do it beautifully. So it's a tool, like the acetate sheet and the slide. PowerPoint is a tool. It is not the answer to what we are going to achieve. It is only a means. I find it fascinating when people tell me that मेरे को एक PowerPoint presentation दिखाओ. अरे PowerPoint is a tool, boss. You need to just understand the objective and not the means. I'll tell you, some of the best speakers that in my life I have seen spoke with no tools. Atal Bihari Vajpayee spoke for 2.5 hours. Mesmerizing. I know some clients who can't handle slides beyond 5. You show them the 6th slide, they get up and go away. So you have to discipline yourself to say everything in 5 slides. There's a multinational food company, and I went for a couple of their global meetings. Very big food company, and they are in 140, 150 countries. The rule in the company is that you have to make your presentation in 1 slide. They give you a template. It's got everything in it. It's got the consumer, who are you talking to, what is your turnover, what's your EBITDA, what is the last EBITDA, what is the future EBITDA. So every presenter, every organization has their own little ways of managing these things. And over a period of 20, 25, 30 years, you start learning, or you get trained to how to structure your thinking, how to structure your thought, how to present something, how to talk about something, how to make an impact of what you're doing, what is wrong, what is right. Now, why am I saying all this? See, you know what? In the last 10 days, I've sat through the debate on the no confidence motion. And I sat through the debate because I enjoy public listening. And sometimes it's fun, correct? And I was so disappointed because when people come and speak, especially in the parliament, you speak to a national audience. You speak to a bunch of people who want to listen to some amount of sense, some amount of logic, some amount of soulness. The no confidence motion was specifically moved for the Manipur issue. Now, as a marketing guy, we define the problem first. The problem definition here was Manipur. Therefore, either you give a solution to what is happening in Manipur, or you give a means to a solution to what's happening in Manipur. That was the purpose of that 2.5, 3 days of parliament session. And it was so painful to watch people speak about things that are not relevant to Manipur. I mean, our Prime Minister spoke for 2 hours, 13 minutes. The problem with our Prime Minister now is that his speeches have become quite monotonous. They're repetitive. They have a very standard structure. They're very predictable. And for a public speaker to be predictable is possibly the worst thing, because you know exactly what you're going to say next. He's got 4 or 5 key pets. He will ensure that he speaks about them. And on a debate on Manipur, all the 4 or 5 are completely irrelevant. But he ranted for 2 hours 13 minutes, ranted and raved, and it is wrong. I just think it's completely wrong. Rahul Gandhi, I think Rahul Gandhi has now picked up a lot of wisdom based on his walking and meeting people and stuff like that. His problem was that he loves to tell all his stories in 15 minutes. You don't need to. He narrated the whole knee problem. He's done it 4 or 5 times. Why again in the parliament? The point I'm making here is that when you are a public speaker, you have to be very, very careful of what you say. One, because historically, whatever you've said is stored in people's mind or on data or on social media. Two, people process information based on how relevant it is. I don't need to know how smart, how intelligent, how bright you are. What I want to know is, if there's a specific problem, what is the solution to the problem? I love the way Tarun Gogoi spoke. I love the way Supriya Sule spoke. I love the way Lalan Singh spoke. I have never seen him before. I saw him for the first time. He was superb. Sugata Roy, I think he was also brilliant. I just love the way he spoke. A lot of homework, rigor. They've gone through their information. They came with a point of view, which is fine. I find Moha Mitra, though people may not like what I'm going to say, I find her a little too unnecessarily heavy. Public speaking, you don't need to. Public speaking is about voice. It's not about body. You stand there, you talk. You look at Obama to speak. Obama speaks for 2 hours, but you listen to him. You don't watch him. Public speaking is about listening. You have to find the proper body language. You have to find the proper pauses. You need to find proper, response mechanisms. People don't respond otherwise. Get people around you who understand what is public speaking. Get yourself trained, because these things hurt. These things really hurt. They don't hurt me, or they don't hurt people who are watching. It hurts people who are speaking, because finally you're selling you are the product and you're selling it. How you brand it, what you say, how you say it becomes very, very important. I like the way Derek O'Brien speaks, though a lot of people find him, but because he's a trained speaker, he's been an anchor, he's been a quiz master. He knows exactly when to modulate, when to stop, when to back off, when to respond. He's superb, absolutely superb. I think he's a class by himself. I love the way Kharge speaks. Kharge is also very good, very, very good. But again, there it is wisdom and experience. He knows exactly when to give the punchline. He knows when to back off from an argument. When you sit in the parliament, when you are a leader of so many people, it is assumed that you are intelligent. It is assumed that you are well read. You don't have to come there and prove a point. You don't have to come there and tell people how bright you are. Or you don't have to come there and tell people how much you know about a particular subject. It is not a history class. Okay, it is a parliamentary debate. Historically, parliamentary debates have been beautiful. But in the last 8-10 years, the discourse has become so sad that you don't enjoy it anymore. And people need to realize that today, because of social media, these videos travel. Youngsters are watching it, they're learning, they're picking up stuff. They believe this is the right thing to do. I mean, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, the leader of the Congress party, I think he must speak in Bengali or in English. I don't think so he must speak in Hindi. He just doesn't get it. Hindi is not his strength. Why does he speak in Hindi? You're the last speaker before the Prime Minister. And you need to be very, very articulate and extremely sharp on what you say. So I personally believe, because of my knowledge of the subject, because not knowledge, it's what I do for a living. It's what I do for day in and day out, talking to people, making presentations, addressing conferences, seminars. That's what we do for a living. Large audiences. We get it. We get it on how to structure a presentation. We get it how to address a speech. We get it how how to modulate your tone, your voice. These people need help in that space. Uh, if someone wants to win, this becomes very, very important. Because every soundbite today travels, every soundbite has energy, every soundbite has legs, every soundbite has people who receive it across the country. You should be extremely careful on what you're saying, how you're saying it, what is your body language, how aggressive are you. Yeah, I mean, I just think the parliamentary debate needs to get back its grace, class, and get back its you know I once in my lifetime attended a live session of the parliament. I sat in the Rajya Sabha and I saw a couple of speakers speak over there. It was so nice, calm, graceful. Uh, I think India needs to get back into that space. India needs to get back into that space where politicians and public figures conduct themselves a lot more class. I think, and a lot more class comes with the way you present, the way you talk, the way you conduct yourself. Uh, it's lacking in our public figures. And yeah, 24 is around the corner. If anyone wants to win 24, the current establishment is losing steam because they become extremely monotonous. The challenger establishment is not gaining steam because they are not getting the narrative right. So 24 is going to be an open game, and whoever gets their act together will win the game. And it's all about public speaking, talking, making your points, making your pitch, presenting your case, telling your stories, ensuring your stories are not repetitive, ensuring your stories are not boring. So it's going to be fun. It's all going to be the best talker wins. When I say best talker, I'm meaning it extremely seriously. I'm not talking is what I meant by talking is not just blabbing. It's about real talking, real conversations. Let's see. Let's see. I'm looking forward to some really good debates, something more constructive, something more positive. The current establishment has to deliver their story on the next 5 years. The challenger has to deliver their story of the next 5 years. So it's going to be a lot of hard work, homework. Get good script writers, get good researchers, structure your thinking, structure your thought, and tell us. And yeah, my bit on the debate in the parliament, on the no confidence motion, on watching all the leaders. It is sad, but I'm hoping that things will change. Thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely evening. See you soon. Bye.